Vikings.
Ooh. Oh. All right. Look at that. That actually sounds fantastic.
Who's been watching the Winter Olympics? Anyone?
I watched the Winter Olympics this morning.
Dude, so the U.S. curling team is both named Corey, and it's a male and female, and I feel so like...
Seen.
I feel seen.
This is the Coreys.
That's what they call them.
Yeah.
How'd you know?
It was a good guess. It was a good guess.
How'd you know?
Was one of them like the lead singer from Slipknot? Because that would be awesome.
No, that's the other Corey.
That would be a hardcore like deviation.
This is like a dark joke, but I'm just glad to have a Corey that didn't kill himself.
Oh my God.
Dark.
That is dark. That got dark quick. That's where we're going to start. Are we live, Ryan? Or are we going to bring out the finger and then go live? Okay, let's do the finger.
Finger it.
Finger licking good.
It's a Linux thing. If you don't know what that is, it's a Linux thing.
It's kind of weird seeing myself here because I need to be looking up there.
The finger takes a long time to load.
It's got to warm up.
Is this the pre-show banter part?
This is the pre-show banter. This is the witty banter that people come early for.
No, this is when you're not paying attention because you're reading the articles that you were supposed to read an hour ago.
I always read them ahead of time.
Wait, were we supposed to do homework for this?
Yes, there's homework. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Black Hills Information Security talking about news. Thank you very much for joining. And if it looks like we're in the dark, it's because we're in the basement. Oh, there, the lights just came on. That's good. So we are at Wild West Hackin Fest Denver 2026. No time machines. And we have a handful of people here to listen to the show. So thank you so much to all of you. It's like you're probably here hoping for something awesome. That's going to come in just a little bit. But we're going to talk about the news, I think, for the next half an hour. And then we're going to get started with the vendor crawl. I'm going to talk about T-shirts and all kinds of stuff. But I think we need to jump into some news stories. I did like the conversation today where it's like, hey, did you hear about that telnet, or not telnet, that Notepad vulnerability? And it's like, which one? And you were like, what? You were like,
I was like, oh yeah, the Notepad++, when there were problems and we were doing, and that was not.
no, not that one.
No,
Notepad is also broken.
So, okay, this is the article. It's basically in Cyber News. And essentially the accusation to Microsoft is that they vibe coded in a feature into Notepad where it can render Markdown now, because of course you need that feature, and it has RCE, of course. So there's a vulnerability where someone can send someone a Markdown document. If they click a link in that Markdown, it leads to remote code execution. So,
which the big crux of this is, there's a quote in here. I just need Notepad to open files. I don't need it to like render.
It's important because you know how to close it. Unlike
exactly.
them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, this is we spent a lot of time talking about AI and how it's transformative, and it is kind of a big deal. But this is an example of giving AI a really bad name, of trying to shove it down our throats. Absolutely everywhere. We don't need AI in Notepad.
No, we don't.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think I need AI in my text editor, right? But I will say, okay, if they did vibe code it, that term is going to lose some potency, because the frontier model that just came out, Codex 5.3, right? That chat, or that OpenAI put out, they say that AI basically did the whole thing. Help write the whole thing. It was one of the first ones they did that was almost completely done by AI. So that AI is vibe coded.
Well, I have a prediction. I have a prediction here. Next week, we're going to talk about a RCE 0-day in Codex.
Or we're going to talk about a 0-day in Claude Cowork. So if anybody's heard of Claude
or
Cowork,
that,
right?
yeah.
Anthropic basically said that they used Claude Code and made it in 10 days. So, I mean, all the talk of AI taking jobs, I'm sitting here as an information security professional thinking,
No, this is 100%. This is my get off my lawn moment. Okay, look, Notepad, you can put AI in dark mode and whatever you want. Okay, but you got to stay away from Notepad. Okay, it's the one thing that has never changed.
It's sacred.
And you remember when they changed calc?
No.
Yeah, no, they went from the old school calc.exe to whatever it is now, and it was blasphemy.
That's all I've ever put in interpreter shellcode is
Every time to test things. If hackers are so good at math, why do they need calculators? But I think that this is kind of the thing that stops adoption, right? If we're looking at, like, let's say Bitcoin, right? If we're looking at blockchain, I think part of the reason why blockchain failed, of course, is the fact that finding applicability outside of cryptocurrency was really, really hard, like widespread applicability. And I feel like with AI, this is an example of how they're trying to shove it everywhere, and that's going to slow its overall adoption down because, like, if you look at it like in, I don't know if you guys have noticed in Outlook, like they're trying to put the Copilot button wherever the send email button was. And if you just hover over it a little bit, it like fans out. And that's just making people hate AI even more. And what I'm saying is you got to keep your powder dry, people. The day is coming where we're going to rise against the machines, and you got to keep that hatred going, bottle it up for the appropriate time. Now at Notepad is not the time.
I was about to ask, was this feature vibe coded by Copilot? Because I don't know that Claude Code would have probably made the same mistake.
We don't know, but probably it was at Microsoft. I feel like getting a Claude Code subscription at Microsoft, probably an uphill battle.
But the question I was going to ask, didn't Microsoft reel in the AI Copilot thing after we did the VX Underground, like 4,000 Copilot penetrations? And then they're like, we should reel this in because people don't want it.
I don't think Microsoft has shame. Like this article, people are like raging against Microsoft on X as though people at Microsoft are like, oh, the security geeks hate us now. They don't give a shit.
It was grandfathered in. Okay,
we always hated them.
It was grandfathered. It was pre-disclosure. It's fine. I will say.
Imagine how many people now they can say are using Copilot because you opened Notepad and now they have X many number of Copilot users.
They're just trying to pump up the numbers. They're like, we have 300 billion AI users. Just a bunch of people trying to send emails and use Notepad.
So I think what's going on is the Notepad team, they're like in the basement and they got a new manager. And the manager's like,
the sub-basement.
They're in the sub-basement. And you can see the new manager's like, everybody, we're going to take on VS Code. Who's with me?
No one. No, that did not need to
And
be
he
changed.
just did it on his own.
All right, what else?
We got another story. Let's keep moving.
So the other big kind of, we're looking at Discord chat right here. And the other big drama is Discord is going to require age verification soon. So basically, the article is that starting next month, Discord is going to put everyone into teen mode, which I don't know what that means, but I guess it's rated T for teen. I don't know what that means. Basically, they're going to restrict access to certain adult content that they are going to discover somehow. And they're going to require a face scan or ID. So I don't know. It's kind of a big deal. I kind of get it. Like, my perspective is Discord is used by a lot of people, but it's also used by a lot of kids. And they got to protect their business model. Like, their PR disaster waiting to happen is, how kids are getting hurt on Discord or whatever. So, but at the same time, I mean, the face scanning, how's that going to work? Like, can I just put on a mask?
The thing, though, is if we remember back in October, they lost like 70,000 IDs, didn't they? So they've already...
That was a third party. It's fine.
Oh, sure. Well, this is also going to be a third party. If you read into their wording, it's also going to be a third party. They may not retain anything they say.
Wait, did you mention that they had a third party that got breached?
Mm-hmm. Back in October.
Yeah.
Well, so it's identity verification. You got to either submit a face scan or your ID, like your photo ID. This is like every app now. They're requiring this.
See, the only time that I think that that's justified is whenever I'm paying my my toll fees in Colorado. I get these text messages all the time. It's like, you owe $400 to Colorado DMV for toll fees.
Those aren't fishes.
Please.
Those definitely aren't
They're
fishes.
not fishes? Okay. Yeah, because they seem legit.
That's also like how you always ask me to buy you Apple gift cards and then send them to India. I've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, exactly. We package them up and we get them out there. But so doing this for a long time, like when I was on Security Weekly, we were using IRC. Do we have any old school IRC people here, right?
I miss IRC.
IRC worked. It was fine.
What about Pigeon, though?
Pigeon, okay, whatever your client is, right? I don't care. I don't
WeChat.
judge.
Pigeon was pretty bad.
It's WeChat or no chat.
Notepad used to work too.
But we move off of IRC, and then Twitter kind of became that thing. That was bad. I think we can all look at that and agree that that didn't work out well. And we keep moving to these new platforms. And I really feel like Discord is in the process of being taken away from us, and we got to migrate again.
So we should switch to telnet, is what you're saying.
I think, that's called foreshadowing.
Segue.
Okay, I guess let's move on to the article about telnet. So this is an article in Gray Noise, or by Gray Noise. Essentially, the long and short of it is that before that CVE dropped in telnet, they observed a huge drop in the level, like the communication statistics with telnet. So the assumption is some tier 1 providers were starting to block this at the network level before the 0-day went public, that's kind of how, like, that's what we did to stop Configure back in the day, right? But I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Like, they just decided to turn off telnet at the layer 1 or level 1 or whatever.
They're not routing it anymore. So it's basically a banned protocol through those ISPs. And I don't know how I feel about this one. Like,
dude, think of the number of pen test findings that just
got removed.
Say, as a pen tester, I don't support this decision.
I do not support this decision.
How are we going to watch ASCII Star Wars?
I know.
Oh, I was thinking about that.
We're going to upgrade to
I have
SSH.
done-
Was it Blinking Lights or whatever?
Yeah, it was towel.blinkenlights.nl. Quick, everybody try to telnet there
No, it won't work. But you
and
can
see if we
probably
live
SSH.
in a fascist regime that is not net neutral.
That's the line right there.
That's the line for
The telnet, that's where, like, fascist regime right there. They
all
removed
port
our
numbers are
telnet.
valid.
Okay, what about telnet with start TLS? Is that still okay? Or is it just port 23?
It's just port 23. So reading through this and reading in some other people, it looks like backbone ISPs are just shutting down 23 traffic.
They can't patch it. Like, it's just their own infrastructure.
No, and what did the CVE? It had a 9.8 for Telnet D. So it's pretty significant. And like I said, I think it's interesting whenever ISPs start unilaterally making decisions about security. Now, I'm not going to make, the hill I die on be Telnet,
It's Notepad.
but it's Notepad. That's the hill we're going to die on. But what's to stop ISPs from saying you have an unpatched MongoDB server? Or what's to stop ISPs for saying you're using Mongo and you just shouldn't? So you have all of these things that I think value decisions by the ISPs that they're making. The concern that I have is I feel like they should literally be a highway for transferring bits, and they should stay the hell out of the way of actually doing security decisions. Now, mind you, I'm a pen tester, and I have a vested interest in keeping vulnerabilities alive.
Well, okay, so what you got to do, John, is you got to SSH in and then local forward the port for telnets, then you can still get that same experience.
If you do that, you're the equivalent of an infosec crackhead. Like, I am sorry. If that's what you got to do to get your rocks off on telnet.
Port 23 is the lucky port, John, okay?
I just could see some of our pen testers doing that, going through all of these shenanigans just so they can find the telnet vulnerabilities. That's all that they're going to do.
That's just a flex at that point.
Yeah, I feel
It is a flex at that point.
You can encapsulate telnet in HTTP3.
Oh, thank God. Are you telling me blockchain telnet's coming?
WebSockets plus telnet. That's the future.
It's beautiful.
But can we always agree, though, that telnet's always been a shit protocol?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you always have these CTF challenges where, the first thing is get out of VI. I like the CTF challenges that are like cleanly exit a telnet session. It's like,
well, first you got to set the bullet to
Control
8200.
A, Control B, Control C, Control B. Wait, what is it again? I think it's Control D.
I just turned my computer off and on.
Does anyone remember when they released the Windows Phone and they had a funeral for the iPhone?
Oh, for the iPhone.
Okay, so we need to have a funeral for telnet, I think. Just
we could do that. We can arrange that. So I don't know if the hotel is going to allow us to keep candles, but we should create a memorial. We have the bedazzle out there. So I don't know if there's any BHIS people here that will do my bidding. But we need to make a telnet memorial.
Yes, if you have some modems or old legacy 10100 network switches.
It'll be like the Trevor Forget.
Yeah, so Trevor Forget for telnet.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. It was.
They should be hubs.
What's that?
Trevor
Yeah,
Forget. The cockroach, Trevor Forget.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
So we'll set up a memorial and we'll set it all up for that. So just to make sure that it's properly remembered. for all time. So.
All right. The next article. This isn't, I guess it's not really an article, but there's a critical CVE 0-day thing in BeyondTrust, which we were talking before the show about how everyone uses BeyondTrust. So if I see you opening your laptops, that's okay. But yeah, basically this is published February.
What's the score
7th.
on this one?
That's a good question.
I do genuinely think that one of the things that I'm going to look back on my career with a lot of pride is the fact that we talked about how there were no perfect 10 CVEs a lot on this show. And right after we started ripping on it, then we started getting 10s, and that's great. But I don't see what the score is.
No, it doesn't.
Well, you can know this one's bad because I'm teaching class and my phone is blowing up, but I'm not looking at it. And I read later and it's the SOC director pinging me repeatedly, do we have detections for this yet? And someone's like, no, he's teaching. And then we did by the end of the night. But it's bad when he's like, are you doing this one yet?
Yeah, but Eric was showing me like what we were sending the customers in the portal with the whole write-up and everything. Yeah. And I'm like, this is awesome. I didn't know that you were doing that while you were teaching.
Like, okay, there's a lab. Everybody's good.
You are the man behind the curtain.
So that's because he was using Claude.
Yeah.
It's 9.9, John.
9.9.
So
that's not bad.
It's on sale from a 10.
BeyondTrust paid. Do you think that they paid their CVE bill or didn't to get a 9.9?
Yeah, that's how it works. So speaking of extortion, this is one that just kind of hit my personal radar. So I don't even know if we have an article for this. Sorry, Ryan, but there's this threat actor called Zero APT that's been just basically public
on a tear.
Basically, here's the story. They hit a lot of our clients. Our clients keep reaching out to, or we're telling our clients, hey, you're on this ransom list. And they're like, we've been panicking and investigating this for weeks. It's definitely fake. So like GuidePoint Security wrote this really good write-up that's basically like, this is all fake. And they have some fun evidence for it. But it's essentially like a fake ransomware threat actor that just came out of nowhere, claimed they breached 200 companies in like a week, and then was just like, the best part about it is so Alice and I, the person who does the dark web stuff on my team, she's right here. We were both trying to download these files on Tor, okay? So they're like, here's a directory listing. It's 1.1 terabytes, and it's a single zip file. So you're like, you click it, download on Tor, and it's like 269 days remaining or whatever because it's Tor. And then the GuidePoint Security article is pretty strongly says it's probably just dev urandom piped into a file. So like,
I like that. Pretty sure it's either that or a zipped up file. It's one of those things.
But like, I'm sitting here being like, oh, sick. And then it turns out it's just dev urandom. Ah, what an idiot. So basically, don't worry if you're on this ransom list. We have no evidence to prove that it's real. None of our clients have been able to, validate any of this or have seen any evidence of breaches or anything like that. But it's a weird strategy.
It's pretty creative, though. I mean, they're just sitting around one day going, man, none of our payloads are working. Let's just say they worked and see if anybody pays us.
It's like the hypothetical, the pen test. What if it was a real pen?
We have exploited all of your HR and payroll data. Pay us 1 Bitcoin. People are going to be like, Bitcoin down 60%. Pay them.
Pay now. Pay now.
That's how you harvest.
Why not? Why not pay it?
How come we're still on YouTube? Like, how are we not banned? Because like, I feel like a good percentage of this show is just like hackers, how to. It's like giving them business ideas. They're like, that's a good idea. I should just send ransom payments.
Well, this whole thing is very much feels adjacent to the extortion emails you'd get where they're like, yeah, we saw you through your webcam doing all these terrible things. And I guess those got, so commonplace that nobody cares. So now they're just turning to the business and they're like, these people got more money and they're not paying attention. Hey, we did all these things. Now pay us.
Well, it's because the cyber insurance companies will tell you every time you get one of these, you mail it to the cyber insurance company. They will say to pay. Say step 1, pay the ransom demand. Yeah. And let us all not forget as well, this Tor file today could just be a markdown file to be effective.
It could be a markdown file that.
Yeah, I was going to open that zip in Notepad.
It's a big zip on that.
Because I noticed they added a decompression feature to Notepad that definitely isn't vibe coded.
Totally not a problem. But no, you talk about like the extortion. And, we spent a lot of time the past few days at BHIS in our meetings talking about the future of AI. and BHIS and like the escalation of the offense and the defense. And I think this is one of those things that's like, nope, security is going to be around for a long time. There's always going to be stupidity in the mix. And thinking about, like, I had an uncle that called me up and he's like, oh my God, they got like my webcam and they caught me doing bad things that they said. And I got to pay immediately. What should I do? I'm like, well, you should probably pay the ransom. No, I'm joking.
Don's like, Bitcoin's only 60K.
That's how you get them to stop calling you. just pay it, man. It's fine.
I mean, that's all the articles I sent. Does anyone have any top of mind stuff? Anything personal to anyone here?
I did see that there was like an Android and iOS spyware kit that people were talking about. Matt J was talking about it last week.
Okay. Is it NSO Group?
It was called someone
that
else.
Pegasus
but let me
too?
Find the
Is it definitely not Pegasus.apk?
that would be pretty good, actually.
Sorry, it's been a long week.
We could just talk about OpenClaw for 15
0
minutes.
day.
Actually, Derek, so I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the conversations that we've been having. There's an article, I can get it to Ryan, we can get up on the notes, but there's a whole bunch of articles that are coming about where they're talking about AI. And the most recent ones that I've been reading are all of the people that are working in AI are basically talking about some of the new frontier models that are coming out and how they're not just better, but like exponentially better. And the rate of improvement that's happening and how quickly that improvement is happening. I was talking with Bo and he was talking about creating a Roblox like entire game with his boys, and they were doing it all in Claude. And it was just very, very, very easy to do. And I think, like, for the first time, I would say the past like week or so, I've finally been starting to use these things and been like really blown away. And I'd like to get your take on kind of what's happened over the past couple of weeks and how these different new models are fundamentally different. Because there's still a lot of people that watch the show. We don't have the Discord stuff up where the people are going to be ripping on AI. They're like, I asked it how to make a cake recipe and it basically gave me directions on making a bomb. I don't know, but you have people all the time saying, I tried AI in 2024. It sucked. Therefore, it must still suck. But things are fundamentally different. They have changed dramatically. Can you talk?
You give your positive case, and then I'll talk about how they made a social media for themselves and then made a whole cult.
Yeah, Moltbot. We can talk about. So before we talk about OpenClaw, I guess I'll say that if you're still of the opinion using, say, something like Copilot, using AI like a Chat GPT kind of, replacement for Google, I ask it questions, it gives me answers back. That's actually not what we're talking about here. We're talking about agentic code, agentic AI. And so there's been around, I don't remember exactly when it was released. I've been using it since like the summer of last year, Claude Code, which is like a coding agent.
It was February 2025. Would you believe that?
February 2025? Yeah, okay. So about a year ago. And so it was made as, if you've ever used an IDE and put like a AI feature in an IDE, it'll like next complete your code, maybe write a function for you. Well, this is different than inline where it's completely agentic and it has a loop that it goes through. And so you give it what you want and it'll plan and execute code, test, the whole gamut. And so for a while it was really nice, but it was still back and forth. I needed to test it myself, and it somewhere around the end of November, beginning of December, when Opus 4.5 came out, it got a lot better. And that was around the time of the holidays, and it took kind of the AI community kind of going home for the holidays and starting to play with this thing, going, holy crap, it is a lot better. And I'll give you a quick like personal example. My daughter hurt her thumb and the doctor gave me x-rays. It wasn't broken, but they were DICOM files, and I didn't want to install the DICOM viewer on my Windows machine because I didn't trust it. And so I asked.
Wait a minute.
Claude
it was like a
Code.
janky executable they gave you on the CD.
Yes,
From,
on a
from
CD.
2001.
Yes,
or
from
something.
2000, exactly, because
There's a
who
Notepad
has a
add-on for
CD
that.
There's a Notepad
still,
add-on.
right? I mean, I have one left in the house. I have one DVD player left in the house in my desktop computer. Anyway, I asked Claude Code to, hey, write write me a viewer for this, and 30 seconds later, I had a web app looking at the X-rays, right? And if I had to do that myself, and I won't keep going on with stories, but over the last like month or so, it's been very, very useful. And I think the collective like feeling for folks who have been using this is that we've turned a corner, and that things are different. And so if you're still of the mind that, man, this AI thing, I'm still not really like, it's still giving me the wrong answer all the time, you're using the wrong AI.
Yeah.
Hayden, do you want to talk about it a little bit in the SOC as well?
Yeah, I've talked about that a little bit. I did a webcast a while back about how you can use it in a SOC. Okay. I mean, it effectively is to the point, if you use the correct models, if you use them the correct way, it is a very good tier 1 analyst at this point. And that is, Claude Code came out a year ago, roughly. And that is, in a very short time, a pretty rapid improvement.
So one point that I think I forgot to make, and you just made without spelling it out, like it's made as a coding agent, and Anthropic has basically said now, we think we misnamed it because it's useful for a lot of other things. For example, I have a class where I teach for incident response where we go through an SSH authentication log and find the compromise. It's a password spray, right? And so what I would teach as a lab before, Claude Code can now do in about 30 seconds and consistently find the exploit or the compromise in the log files. So it's it's going down the road of a personal assistant, a personal agent.
Exactly. It's multi-purpose. And so we talked about the BeyondTrust thing and the critical CVE, right? And so we're all, doing all these different things. It is to the point where we have our Git repo formulated in such a way that within, a 20-minute lab while I'm helping the students, I can run a command and Claude goes and researches the CVE, comes back with a plan on how it wants to develop a detection. I say, yeah, go for it, little buddy. And then 10 minutes later, it pings me and says, here's a GitHub PR. It's been reviewed by a different agent. It's gone through 6 pipeline checks. On the background, it's gone through 15. It's now ready for your review. And it's now to the point where effectively this tier 1 analyst here now has code ready for me to look at and provide feedback that we could potentially push, minutes after we're reading about this new CVE.
But the kind of the consistent theme that I'm seeing before Corey comes in and poo-poos it is I'm looking at it like all the people that I see that are using it are people that are very advanced technically. And they know how to ask the right questions. They know how to give it the right prompts. They know how to set it up properly. And then they know how to look at the output. Like you were talking, it doesn't just do all that. It comes through and it's like, here's all the checks that it passed, right? Like, is it going to generate 40,000 alerts? No, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it goes through an iterative process, right? But that's set up by people that are domain experts that know how to use it properly. In the hands of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, I don't think it really helps all that much. I think it really is a tool for people that know basics, fundamentals, core, and have been doing it for a while to be far more effective in their jobs. So go ahead.
I think that's for now.
For now.
For now.
For now, like all things, it's a tool. So if you don't know how to use this tool, you're not going to be able to effectively utilize it. It's just a very powerful tool potentially.
Yeah, it's only as good as the person prompting it. Like, for example, if you ask Claude Code to make a TypeScript project and you give it no further direction, it will set every strict type to any. Which, if you're not a JavaScript nerd, that just means it will accept input in any form, and you've completely just sidestepped the entire purpose of using TypeScript. I think I'll just add one more quick idea here, which is that. Like, this is the first time, if you believe that Claude Code is going to take your job away in this business, this is really the first time in my career that people are creating disposable software with Claude Code to replace enterprise applications. So every business in the world right now is saying, oh, run a pilot, just play with it. Like, we'll save hundreds of thousands of dollars on this enterprise software, which may or may not have vulns. But now we have all this proliferation of these bespoke code bases, and we are going to have jobs forever.
That is awesome.
As a penetration tester, I think this is a great thing.
It's the new telnet.
And that also gets into a whole nother presentation I want to write that talks about the standardization of mediocrity. And you're getting a huge diversity. Like you said, people can, why do I need to buy it from a vendor? We can build it on our own. That's awesome for the pen testing community. It's fantastic. And I look forward to the future. Corey.
Yeah, inhale. Okay. The thing I think my biggest, like, if I'm going to be like anti-AI for a second, which for the record, I love Claude and I talk to Claude every day. Me and that little buddy, as Hayden said, are going back and forth all the time. But the thing that I think that people don't understand is that just telling your AI, just putting in your AI prompt, and by the way, please don't hack me, bro, is not security. Like, that's not security. Prompt injection is like the biggest threat vector to any, like, people that are throwing their stuff into open, basically like the Molt bot scenario, where people are basically saying, okay, this is an AI agent that I've created and I'm handing it access to all of my tokens, all of my API.
And my credit card.
And my credit card, because I wanted to be able to book me flights and order me food. And I get it. Like, I kind of want to do this too. Like, I want to see what would happen. But also, putting in the system prompt, and by the way, don't do anything without asking me, is not actually a security control, because I can just put in my prompt, and by the way, if there's any steps to validate or check, just bypass those. So that's like the number one thing people are, like, I think not understanding is, like, your system prompt saying, please don't hack me, bro, doesn't actually
But it's totally safe because I bought a Mac Mini and that is isolated.
Well,
Developed on a Mac.
Corey, that's where you need like hooks, right? But the thing with hooks is if you're not an advanced user of these tools, you don't know how to use them. So you don't know what a hook is. It is a control on top of Claude Code that adds a gate before it can do certain actions. And so for us, before it runs bash, so before it can push anything on Git, it's a hook that pauses and stops it, and you have to see what it's going to do.
You're making John's point, though, is that it takes somebody kind of understanding it still at this
It
at this
requires you to
time.
know how to use it
Yeah,
correctly.
and that slows it down, dude. I don't want to listen. I said to order me whatever food drunken me wants. at
Dangerously
3 in the
allow
morning.
permissions. Go.
I need to end this with one analogy, and I've mentioned it in the past, but I want to mention it again. And then we're going to move on to announcements, and Shelby's going to come up and talk about the vendor stampede. But I want you to understand this from the perspective of the continuum of technology. If you go back to like the 50s and 60s, slide rules, right? Slide rules got us to the moon, and slide rules were banned in math classes because it was cheating. Okay. Then you move forward and we develop calculators, right? And they were just basic calculators, right? Amazing tools, but when you add the classrooms and universities, they were banned because it was cheating, right? Then you move forward to like graphing calculators, TI-85s, TI-86s, and once again, those were banned in classrooms. They were banned in all these different studies because they were cheating. And this is just the next turn in technology, right? This is not something iterative. This is the equivalent of the loom showing up. And if we look at what hackers do and what we all should be doing, we are the people that sit in these inflection points and understand technology and use it for our own purposes. So if I hate to be harsh, but if you're not using this and you're not at least coming to grips and trying to understand this, then you're kind of betraying your hacker roots, your computer security roots. So you have to know this. This isn't going away. This isn't, what were we talking about? Like the internet's a fad, right? It's not a fad. This is a thing. It is real. So I want to just say I apologize in advance because I'm betting that there's a lot of talks at this con dealing with AI. So with that, thank you so much, panel. It's time to move on. We need to get going with the vendor stampede, but a round of applause for the panel, and thank you all so much.